Good morning. My friends, today we begin Holy Week. Now, there's two words there, holy and week. And we should be attentive to both of those words in our daily lives. We as a church struggle so hard because we're shouting against the wind, against the society in which we live, in which there is so much distraction and so much confusion and so lack of clarity and no depth at all. It is time for us to withdraw from the world for a week so that we can ponder the great truths of our faith, so that we can ponder the great truths of what Jesus has done for us. We cannot do that in confusion. We cannot do that in noise. We cannot do that living according to the secular agenda. We must do it according to our 2,000-year tradition of faith. Now, what does that mean? It means for 1 week a year, we withdraw from that which distracts us when we are able to. That we deliberately do things that would cut down the static and the distraction. That we deliberately pray and read the Scriptures. That we deliberately perform acts of goodness for others. This Holy Week, the word holy means of God, from God. If this is truly to be a week from God, then we must enter into it. Now, it begins today, and I have a challenge for you. And this challenge is for you to go home and pull the cable out of the wall. To disconnect the television set. I dare you. And to use that time instead to write to those whom you haven't spoken with for some time, to send cards to those you know who are sick or suffering, to follow up with someone who has lost recently a loved one, to spend time in visiting your parents, your grandparents, to spend time that you ordinarily would sitting in front of a video game or sitting in front of a television set, to spend time for the good of others. Can you do that? No response. Can you do that? 3, good. I guarantee you some of you won't. Some of you won't even remember from here to the parking lot. Guarantee you. And why do I say that? Because as we read the Passion today, we read the story of each one of us. And the story of each one of us is pretty simple. That all of us are in that story of Jesus' passion. Some of us are the bystanders who stood along the way and jeered, who complained the traffic was tied up. Some of us, the apostles, who deny Jesus in public, who allow their faith to be ridiculed and who refuse to share their faith with others. Some of us were like the 2 thieves that were hanging on the cross. One who continued up to the end to be contemptuous of all good, and the other who finally found his soul and asked for redemption. Some of us are the soldiers who abused their power and who allowed unspeakable cruelty to be foisted upon other human beings. And some of us are the silent people who say nothing, who sit back and let the world do what it wants, who never speak up for the goods of others. So this is Holy Week, 1 week. And the question becomes, where will you be? Where will you be? Where will the world be because you're here? Will anything change? Turn off the radio in your car. Turn off the iPod. Turn off all those things that penetrate your brain. And listen in silence for God speaking to you. Look for Jesus on your way. Jesus, who stands along the road in need. Jesus, who might need your word of encouragement. Jesus, who might need your word to bolster them that day. And so, a Holy Week should make us more aware, cause us to fast from everything that distracts us, and to go to the core and to the center of who we truly are. We will be here in church every day this week. Where will you be? We will be in church. The church will be opened every day for silent prayer, for liturgies. And then on Thursday at sundown, we begin the most solemn part of the year, what's called the Easter Triduum. And we will gather here on Holy Thursday night at 7:30 for the Mass of the Lord's Supper and celebrate Jesus instituting the Eucharist and instituting the priesthood and giving us each our call to service. Where will you be? What's more important than coming to engage your God during Holy Week? Then on Friday at 1 and at 7, we will recount the Passion again, and we will venerate the wood of the cross and ponder Jesus' selflessness. Where will you be? And on Holy Saturday night, we will gather here at 8:30 after the sun has set. And the new fire will be lit and the candles lighted. And we will recount salvation history from creation to the resurrection. And new converts will be brought into the church and baptized and confirmed and receive the Eucharist for the first time. This Holy Saturday night, the mother of all liturgies. Where will you be? If you come to Mass on Palm Sunday and Easter Sunday only, you've missed it. You've missed it because it is Holy Week. Where will you be is the question. What will you do in your homes? Are you so addicted to noise that you can't turn off the television? Are you so addicted to noise that you can't be still and silent? And if we are, we'll never hear God's voice, for it always comes to us in the quiet. Spend this week fasting and praying, actually talking to one another, being still, enjoying one another. Bake cookies and take them to somebody. Like the past? No. But do something. Pray deliberately, and deliberately perform acts of kindness. This is a Holy Week. Where will you be? And what will you do? That's your challenge. Jesus did it for us. Can we now follow his example and live this week for others? Holy Week. It's the whole week, and it is holy. Will you be? Is the question for us all. Look for yourselves in the reading of the Passion, for we're all there. Be at peace and make this week holy.